Hello people that are trying to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! This is the second part of the series. I'll try to be of as much help as I can to make your experience of getting back into the game as easy as possible, because I realized I wish I would have had that when I tried to get back into it. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you might want to subscribe maybe, but without further ado, let's just get into it, shall we? I was thinking about like what changed the most since I quit the game, or when I came back, what was I the most confused about? I think that I wasn't confused about because it wasn't that different at the time, still a little bit, but it changed even more is you probably already know about it if it's probably not your first video watching about the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Field, but there has been quite some changes made about the field. One quick fact that most of you will probably know, but for the very old school players, field spells, for example, a quick fact, do not apply for both players anymore. That's not really a thing. I mean, there's still some, one is banned, blah blah blah, but back in the days, field spells were field spells because they affected the whole field, so both you and your opponent kind of got to interact with that. That's not a thing anymore. Field spells are now more searchable continuous spells, so that's a quick note here for all the people that didn't know that. But let's get right into the actual news for the field, which are those two new zones that you see right here up from the main monster zone, which is now called main monster zone because that is the extra monster zone. Back in the day, that was just the normal monster zone, but now you have those two little things there. Well, what are they for? This is kind of like where you special summon your Extradeck monsters into. Kind of, because like there are obviously ways to extend the zone. You're not just limited to one Extradeck monster at a time. Well, technically you are, but there's cards now that let you extend those zones, because what would Yu-Gi-Oh! Be without a board full of rainbow colored monster cards? And yes, I said one Extradeck monster, because the Extradeck zones in theory are one for you, one for your opponent. If you start first, or are the first person to special summon the Extradeck monster into, then you can choose which one you want, but the other one is technically for opponent unless you do some crazy thing like a U-Link, which I'll address later on, but it's not going to be a big part of this video. Another thing to notice with this board is there are pendulum zones. The furthest left and the furthest right spell and trap card zones are also, not exclusively, but also for pendulum cards if you play in a pendulum deck. If not, that is of no relevance to you. I'll explain what pendulum cards are, what they do, how you use them as well later on in the video. But just for now, if you don't plan on playing them, that is just a normal spell and trap card zone for you. Well, next onto the different new monster card types. Told you I was going to keep it short. Well, a lot of people might still know this one because that's probably when they quit the game. That's how it happened for me, not because of them, as some other people might, but around that time, the white cards, aka the Synchro monsters. They're not all that complicated, but they need you to do something for some people unbearable: simple math. Because to summon such a card, you need to combine a tuner monster, it tells you if it's one on the card, and one or more non-tuner monsters together, so you can special summon the Synchro monster out of your extra deck. The catch here is you can't just use any of them, but the levels, the little dragon balls on the monster cards, of the monsters used for the summon combined have to be the exact level of the Synchro monster. So if your Synchro monster that you want to summon is level 5, you have to have, for example, a level 2 tuner monster and a level 3 non-tuner monster if the monster doesn't have any specific requirements what type the tuner monster has to be, for example. You don't need any extra card like for fusion cards, but the monsters have to be on the field to do that. So you can't just put them from your hand onto the graveyard. That's a thing that for some people seems ridiculous to say, but in the end, if you really don't know, you might have tried to do it from your hand as well. Next up we have something even simpler than that, but it's harder to pronounce, and that are the XYZ monsters, or XYZ monsters, or some people would call them, as I did when I started to play the game again. For those, you have to have 2 or more monsters on your side of the field with the same level as the rank of the monster you want to summon. That are the stars on that XYZ monster card, and then slap them, basically the XYZ monster, on top of the pile of material monsters you used for the summon. That means the material doesn't go to the graveyard like with fusion or synchro summon, but it stays on the field under your XYZ card. That is the case because most of those cards' effects can only be used by detaching one or more materials from it to the graveyard. So you basically have to just take one or two or how many it says on the card away from it, and then you can use the effect. It's trying to limit your usage of the card's effect basically, which at the moment doesn't play that much of a role anymore, but at one point, I mean, it still leads to you not being able to constantly use the effect every turn, and I guess that's some kind of balancing measurement for certain cards. A quick note to exist monsters here at this point, their levels that you want to call levels but are called ranks are not levels, so you couldn't use them to synchro summon, for example. Every card that just says level on them for any kind of effect does not apply to rank monsters if it doesn't say otherwise on the card, so you have to be aware of this. It's quite crucial to the game actually, and it's something that at the start you might not consider because for you those are both lol Dragon Balls there. One are just black, the other ones are orange, but there is a big difference in that one. Next are pendulums. I hope you brought some time, those ones got it in them, because first things first, they're monster spell combinations depending on if you play them in the pendulum scale or as a monster, because they have different effects wherever you actually play them. Because if you play them as a spell card, they have their spell effect. If you summon them as a monster, they have their monster effect. Also, if pendulum cards were present from the field to the graveyard, they go into the extra deck instead, but face up. Warning though, this does not happen when you discard them for an effect or even when you detach them from an Exist monster, because technically they're not on the field then at that time and so on. So there's a lot of stuff around them that you have to get used to, but you will. I'm pretty confident you will. So much to the cards themselves. Now let's take a look at the numbers that are shown on the card, because they all have like a pendulum scale, which is this little number that you see next to that triangle on the card. On their own that doesn't mean much, but if you happen to have two pendulum monsters in your pendulum scale, which is the maximum that you can have because you only have two scales, then once per turn you can perform a pendulum summon. That means you can summon monsters from your hand or pendulum monsters from your extra deck that levels are between the numbers of your pendulum scales. Well, let's show you that as an example. If your scale, for example, is 1 and 8 in your pendulum zones, then you can summon monsters as many as you want as long as you have the space, with a level starting from 2 to 7. So you can summon level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, level 7 all at the same time, but not 1 or 8 because it has to be in between your scales. Also, yes, you heard correctly, you can summon the pendulum monsters back from the extra deck, but only them, not fusions, not synchros or anything else. Beware though, because the extra deck rule applies to those ones as well, meaning if you don't have enough extra monster zones, you can't special summon them from the extra deck. On a last side note, if they're in the pendulum scale, then they are treated as spell cards as well, meaning that you can negate them if you have spell negations, or you can good old school mystical space typhoon them, but only if they're in the spell trap card zone. If they're a monster, then the normal monster rules apply to them. I hope I summoned that up about right, but now let's get into Yu-Gi-Oh's newest family members, the Link monsters. Those are the easiest type of monsters to summon in my opinion, but side fact, they don't have defense points because they can't be put in defense mode. That's something you might want to keep in the back of your mind. But first of all, what do? The arrows you see in them create extra monster zones on the field, where you then can summon extra deck monsters to as well. So you're not just limited to your extra monster zone, but also to those zones Link arrows point to. But watch out, your opponent can summon monsters to the zone that your monster points to as well, as long as they point to his side of the field. Obviously he can't summon monsters to your side of the field, but vice versa, you can obviously summon monsters to zones on your side of the field that your opponent's monster points to as well. But how do you summon those game changes? You need to send monsters from your side of the field to the graveyard up to the monster's link number that you want to summon. So if the monster that you want to summon is a link 3, you need to technically send 3 monsters you control to the graveyard. Well, there's an addition. For example, a link 2 monster can also count as 2 monsters for the summon of a link monster. It doesn't have to, but if you want it to, it can count as 2. Link 3 can count as 3, and so on. But also you have to make sure for the summon of it that you fulfill the card's requirements. If the card, for example, is a link 3 and says on it you need 2+ effect monsters for it, that means you have to use at least 2 monsters for its summon, and all of them have to be effect monsters. Not you need at least 2+ effect monsters, but all of them have to be effect monsters, and you need to use at least 2 monsters. You can't just like use a link 3 to make a link 3, for example, in that kind of scenario, and so on. So there's, for example, link 4 monsters that want you to use 3 effect monsters, so we can't just use 2 to link two monsters. So that is something that you really have to keep in your mind. Also, a little terminology here: if two linked monsters point at each other with their links, then that is called co-linked, I think. That is something that you might want to check in the rulebook. There's a lot of different kind of things you can do. Technically, do an extra link. So if you get a whole U kind of shape on your board, you could use your opponent's extra monster zone as well. Not a lot of decks can do that at the moment, but maybe in a few months I'll bite myself for saying that. So don't, I don't know, ignore that for now and to just focus on the link monsters themselves. And that is all the monsters that you technically need to know of. There's probably some combination things and a lot of other stuff, but for now, this is all you need to know. This is all the extra deck summoning mechanics, and I hope I made it quite quickly. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're interested in the series, there's going to be a lot more of my experiences, even budget deck profiles on my channel if you don't want to spend a lot of money getting into Yu-Gi-Oh, but still want to play at least a playable deck that can do things. Check that out. Subscribe to my channel if you want, give it a like, subscribe, do all those kind of things I already said, and I hope you have a good day.